Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're doing good. Let's talk about Hunt Showdown and the recent update 2.6.2. This patch is very much one of those quality-focused updates that doesn't scream for attention at first glance, but the more you look at it, the more you realize it's responding directly to how people have been playing and reacting to the game lately. One of the biggest talking points has to be the Winds of Midwinter story challenge adjustments. When this event originally dropped, a lot of players felt boxed in by the time pressure and some very specific objectives that didn't always line up with how matches naturally play out. With this update, the developers removed the overall time limitation on the story challenge progression, which is honestly a huge deal. It means you can now work through the chapters at your own pace instead of feeling forced to log in every day or grind in ways that weren't fun. That alone changes the entire tone of the event from stressful to something you can actually enjoy. On top of that, several objectives were made more flexible. A good example is the change where killing circus grunts was expanded to include armored enemies as well. That might sound minor, but in practice, it means you're no longer stuck roaming compounds hoping a specific enemy type spawns. It lets normal gameplay count toward progression instead of pulling you out of the flow. Another adjustment lowered the requirement for acquiring traits, and instead of forcing you to interact with a very narrow system, it now simply rewards you for picking up traits naturally during missions. These changes feel like they're designed to respect the player's time, which is something Hunt really benefits from, given how intense and mentally taxing matches can be. Stability is another major focus of this update, and this is where things might not look flashy, but matter a lot, especially for long-term health of the game. Several rare crashes and freezes were addressed, including ones that were hard to reproduce, and therefore especially frustrating. If you've ever lost a hunter or progress because the game locked up at the worst possible moment, you know exactly how important these fixes are. Even if you never consciously notice them, fewer crashes mean more confidence loading into matches with expensive gear. Console players, especially those on PlayStation 5, also got some much-needed attention here. The update includes a fix for a texture memory allocation issue that could lead to memory leaks and eventual crashes on PS5 and PS5 Pro systems. This kind of problem can quietly degrade performance over time, so resolving it should result in smoother sessions and fewer unexpected shutdowns during longer play periods. It's a technical fix, sure, but it directly impacts how reliable the game feels. There are also several user interface fixes rolled into this patch. Small things like menu behavior, scrolling issues, and interaction quirks were cleaned up. These are the kinds of annoyances that don't ruin the game on their own, but when you add them all together, they can make the experience feel rough around the edges. Tightening up the UI helps keep your focus where it belongs, which is on the hunt itself rather than wrestling with menus between matches. Another thing worth mentioning is how this update fits into the broader conversation around premium content and progression. The developers have clearly been listening to feedback about how story challenges were originally structured and priced. While not everything was changed overnight, this patch represents a noticeable step toward making progression feel fairer and more player-friendly. It shows a willingness to adjust systems after launch instead of stubbornly sticking to the original plan. What's interesting about this update is that it doesn't try to reinvent anything. There are no sweeping balance overhauls or dramatic meta shifts here. Instead, it focuses on smoothing out friction points that players were running into repeatedly. That kind of attention to detail is important for a game like Hunt, where tension, immersion, and consistency are everything. When systems get in the way, the atmosphere suffers, and this patch does a solid job of clearing some of those obstacles. Overall, 2.60.2 feels like a patch that prioritizes comfort, stability, and respect for how people actually play the game. It makes events feel less restrictive, reduces technical frustrations, and polishes the experience across platforms. It might not be the kind of update that floods social media with clips, but it's the kind that quietly improves every session you load into. And in a game where every match can already be unpredictable enough, having the underlying systems work more smoothly is a win all by itself.